Welcome, everyone. It's an awesome day to be a Bulldog. And I want to start by thanking a few people. First of all, I want to thank our president, President David Maxwell, for his unbelievable vision for our institution and the way that he's helped us to really build an athletics program that fits within the culture and mission of this institution. And the help that he's been over this last week as we made a transition in our basketball staff. I saw our basketball coaches. No transition in our basketball staff. No transition in our basketball staff, media. Okay, am I red, Tommy? And our football staff. I also want to say thank you to our Director of Human Resources for helping facilitate this past week. It's been impressive to work at this institution with such an incredible team of staff. Also want to say thank you to Chris Creighton. As I shared with his new athletic director, Chris Creighton's an extraordinary coach and even a better man. He made a significant impact on our university and the people around him. One of the things that he and I talked quite a bit about is that you really know if you make an impact, if there's success in what you leave behind. So today we're talking about new leadership and a new personality leading our football program. It is time for new building blocks. I'm grateful to Chris, and I wish Chris Creighton and his family extraordinary success as they go off into a new journey in their life. At Drake University, we've made a commitment to live the Bulldog way, to build a program of excellence in ethics, and we wrap that in a culture of caring. We could have scoured the entire country for the very best football coach, the very best fit for Drake University, and the very best man to add to our family. And I promise you this, I'm 100% confident that that search would have taken us right back here to Drake University and to our, at that time, assistant head coach, Rick Fox. Coach Fox is a veteran coach with 27 years of coaching experience. He spent the last 6 years as our offensive line coach and special teams coordinator here at Drake. For the past 3 seasons, he served as assistant head coach, where he, arm in arm, has built the success with Coach Creighton that we've seen on the football field. He's guided an offensive line that generated 4,000 or more yards in the past 3 seasons. As the Bulldogs special teams coordinator, Drake ranked 5th in the nation in FCS. Drake's punt return average in the PFL ranked 15th in the nation. This past season, Coach Fox's kickoff coverage unit led the PFL with a net average kickoff of 41.2 yards. In 2010, he was rightfully named Football Championship Subdivision Assistant Coach of the Year by the American Football Coaches Association. Prior to his move at Drake, Coach Fox served as offensive coordinator and associate head coach at Center College, where he coached 16 first-team all-league performers and 50 total offensive, all-conference players. He was awarded there the Presidential Award for Distinguished Service in 2005. Coach Fox also served as offensive line coach, special teams coordinator at Wheaton College, and offensive line coach at Aurora University. He began his coaching career as a graduate assistant while earning a master's degree in biblical studies from his alma mater, Wheaton College. It's no surprise that everywhere Coach Fox has been, there's been significant success. He was the captain of his football team, again, no surprise, a born leader. He's recipient of the Presidential Award for Distinguished Service at Center College, as I mentioned. Coach Fox and his wife, Julie, have 3 wonderful children. Hannah is here with us today. Rebecca's in finals today at Wheaton. And Caleb is over at Valley High School. And a 9th grader at Valley High School. I'd like to share some comments from President Maxwell, who could not be with us this afternoon. Chris Creighton and his staff have taken Drake football to a new level of excellence. and we wish him nothing but the best as he steps forward into the next phase of his journey. I am beyond delighted that Rick Fox has agreed to take the reins of the program and to continue to build on the accomplishments to which he's contributed greatly over the past 6 years. Beyond his extensive experience and expertise in football, he's a man with a vision, integrity, character, and energy. Drake football is a very special program, a team that wins championships with young men of high character who exemplify excellence in the classroom and in their personal lives. Rick is the perfect role model and leader to continue a cherished tradition and take the program to even a higher level. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome our new football coach at Drake University, Rick Fox.
I'm going to save most of my thank yous for the end of my talk, but I do want to thank, first of all, Dr. Maxwell. You may or may not know that he and I shared a tent on the slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro, and he still hired me to this position, which you can ask him about my snoring problem if you'd like, as well as Sandy, who was also on that climb. And I look forward to continuing that climb with our football program as we move it forward into the future. I wish you could have been here in this room Wednesday night. One of our program goals in Drake football is to be a family. And if you were here this past Wednesday night when Coach announced to the team that he was leaving for Eastern Michigan, you would have witnessed firsthand what that means. Obviously, it was very emotional for Coach and for our team. And the love that you would have seen that followed that would have astounded you. The best way that I can illustrate that, and if you saw the live broadcast of Coach's press conference at Eastern Michigan, you would have heard an email written by one of our players who's here, and he's shaking his head because he's embarrassed I'm telling this. AJ Erb. So I was on the road recruiting. I got back on the road early Thursday morning, and that afternoon, Sandy called me and said, I've got to tell you this story from Coach's press conference. She said she went over to the cafeteria just to see how the guys were doing, and she bumped into AJ and asked him how he was doing. He said, well, Sandy, last night afterwards, I went back to my house, and just thinking about the whole process, I decided to write the athletic director at Eastern Michigan an email. And Sandy was like, okay, well, what did you write? Well, he said that she needed to know the quality of man that she just hired as her football coach. That says something about two different people and really Coach Creighton and our entire football team. One is the kind of man Coach Creighton is, and two is the kind of guys we have in our football program. And that letter was read at the press conference right before Chris came to the podium. When Sandy told me that, my immediate response was, did Chris know that was happening? Because I can't imagine the emotions that he felt. When I talked to him on Friday, he said he was not aware at all. And it took everything he could to hold back his emotions to get through that press conference. That's the kind of young men and that's the kind of family that we have at Drake football. And so the question I'm getting is, how do you follow that? How do you follow a man like that in this position? My answer to that is I don't follow that. We continue it. We continue it. You just have to look at the pictures on the walls around here, and you can see the history of Drake football. Johnny Bright, the 55 Sun Bowl team who came back and visited with our team this past year. The Chuck Shelton years. I was told this morning, I've never met Coach Shelton, but somebody told me this morning at a meeting here that I look just like Coach Shelton. So, Paul, you can verify that or not, as well as the Rob Ash years. And then, Paul, I don't know if you know this, but when we're out recruiting on the road, one of my favorite things to tell prospective Drake football players is we have a picture of you holding the trophy in 2011, and I describe you to them, and then I say he's been to 690 Drake football games. 690. Now, if you haven't heard that number, some of you are shaking your head and you're aware of it. Do the math. Do the math on that and realize how many home and away games that he has been to. And I challenge anybody to find anyone in the nation who has been to more football games at a single school than Paul Morrison. And I just want to give him a hand in recognition of him.
Been a long time labor of love.
There you go. So one of the things I've been asked, what is your stamp on the program going to be? That is the most difficult question I've been asked since last Wednesday night. And the reason it's so difficult is because Coach Creighton and I are really brothers. We have been friends for over 20 years. We've had the opportunity to coach together these past 6 years, and we beat with the same heartbeat in terms of our vision for a college football program and the impact it can have on young men and the impact that it can have on a community and on a campus. And so my stamp on the program, it's what you see in our program right now. And getting the opportunity to work together with Chris over the past 6 years on that has been one of the most enjoyable things of my football career. And I look forward to building on that. So rather than telling you some vision of the future that I have, I want to share with you some things that are going on in the program right now and how we're going to continue that forward to even greater heights. If you've heard Coach Creighton talk very often, you know that we have 5 program goals in our football program. And as I said to the team on Wednesday night, that those are going to continue to be the foundation of our football program as we move it forward. The first one is academic success. We led the PFL, the Pioneer Football League, this year in academic all-conference selections. We have a team, go ahead, thank you. We had this past year, we're obviously waiting for grades coming in any time now. This past year, a team GPA of over 3.0, okay? Second, our second program goal is to be our best. This is the football component. We don't talk about winning. We talk about being our best at the very next thing we're going to do, whether it's a squat rep in the weight room, whether it's a 6 a.m. workout on Tuesdays in the middle of February, or working out on a 98-degree day in July, or converting that play in November that's going to win the conference championship. What matters next is to be our best. And the result of that has been 2 conference championships over the past 3 years. And I can speak on behalf of the guys in this room and the guys who are home now all over the nation from finals. They have a passion in them to go get another one this coming year. Our third program goal is to be a family. You've already heard me talk about that. And if you ask any one of these guys that are here today, what's the greatest part of being a Drake football team member, they will answer it's being a part of the Drake football family. And that has been true for a number of years here. Our fourth program goal is to have fun. Now, there was a Des Moines Register article that was written about Coach Creighton back during the season, and it just so happened that it was the day that Graham Butler, one of our receivers, was doing a little competition trying to lasso our coaches. And obviously that is not something we do every day at practice in Drake football, okay? But we believe that football should be as much fun now as it was when these guys were in 3rd grade and they decided to go out again in 4th grade. And they did that because they had a blast playing this great game. And too many times, college football is described as a business. And we want our guys to always keep in mind the fact that this is a great game, that they should have a blast playing together. And then our final program goal is to be impact men. And you know, what's reported on the news are scores and game results, and unfortunately, occasional discipline situations. But what's not often reported are the things that these guys do on a regular basis in our community. Let me give you this example. Since the end of the season, I've had 3 different players come into my office and say, Coach, let's start this community service project. One, a freshman, Colby Dunn, said, I want to start working in the local food distribution center that gets food out to the local food pantries. Totally his idea. Or another young man of ours, John Bloss, who wants to work helping mentor local high school athletes. And another one who Wednesday night in the midst of that meeting said, Coach, I got to talk to you when we get back after break because I have another community service idea. And then I was asked on the recruiting road, do you require these things? And I kind of looked at the guy like, what are you talking about? This is generated by our players. They lead it, they move it forward, okay? And that's the kind of men that we have. And we expect them, and they run with it to be leaders, not only on our team, but in this campus and in this community. And we hope and we believe that we're a football team that the city of Des Moines can take great pride in, and we look forward to raising that to even new levels. Finally, I have a few thank yous, and this wasn't going to be a tough one. Heather Creighton is here, as Sandy mentioned, and I said to our team Wednesday night, it's not just losing a coach. It's losing a very good friend for our family and their family. And I can't thank them enough for what they've meant to us. And I speak on the behalf of my own family and also the football family. And that needs to be acknowledged publicly, from both those groups. Second of all, some men that I want to mention who have had such an impact on my life: Andy Fry, the head coach at Center College in Kentucky; Mike Swider, current head coach at Wheaton College in Wheaton, Illinois; Jim Scott and John Cooper, who were the guys foolish enough to give me my first job at Aurora University; and then a man by the name of J.R. Bishop, who was my high school coach at Naperville Central in the suburbs of Chicago. He was my college coach at Wheaton, and he hired me, and I worked with him for 7 years. And outside of my own family, there's no man that's had a bigger impact on my life than him, and also his wife, Janet. And then my wife and my family, we celebrate our 19th anniversary this Thursday. It's I knew I'd mess that one up. 21st anniversary on the 19th. Thank you. And so here's how we're going to celebrate it. Our first date was to a high school football game, and I'll be driving back from recruiting in the Chicago area on our anniversary. So that's the kind of woman that she is, but I would not be standing here in front of you without her support and her encouragement over these years. And then my children, Hannah Kate, who's with us today, and our daughter Rebecca, who better be studying today, and our son Caleb, who needed to be in school so that he could play in his freshman basketball game against Dowling tonight, and as a Valley member, he wasn't going to miss that. So I want to thank them, and Drake football is a family, not just for the players and coaches, but for our families as well. And that's what characterizes us more than anything. And then finally, as a man of faith, I want to just thank God for equipping me and calling me and giving me the opportunity to work on a daily basis with these kind of guys and the kind of coaches that I get to interact with every day. So thank you.
We'll go ahead and take any questions for Coach, if anybody has any at this time.
Did Coach Creighton give you any advice when you took the job?
Well, Coach Creighton's been giving me advice for 6 years. And the night that he took the job, it was more hugs. He was getting on a plane that was flying the next morning, Thursday morning at 6:30, and I was getting in a car at 4:45 in the morning. So I said, "You'll be going to the airport and I'll be driving, so let's talk." And so we talked a little bit, and I said, "Coach, there's not going to be much changes in the offense except for one thing. He has this one formation call that always screwed the rest of us up." I said, "I can promise you that's changing." And all of our offensive coaches were very relieved when I told them that. But as far as advice when he left, there wasn't much more to say because we've worked so closely together over the years, to be honest with you.
Rick, what's the greatest life lesson you've learned from Chris Creighton?
Wow, that's a really good one. There's going to be a couple things I'm going to put in there. Don't be afraid to take risks. Okay, that trip to Africa, and that included our president, and it included Sandy, and as well as Chris. But that was taking risks that few coaches and few administrators would be willing to do. And you can't see the guys shaking their heads behind you, but what an amazing experience. And so that would be one. And then just the example he showed with the passion that he went about with the things he did, that impacted me as a coach and as a man.
What kind of feedback have you gotten from recruits?
Pretty positive. John Huguenin, linebacker for us at our team meeting, got up in front just on his own, and he said, "We are a family, okay? It's not about one man." And he meant that with all respect to Coach Creighton, because he helped make us become that, and that we're moving forward. Well, that's the same message that we're taking out as we're out recruiting. It's just what I said today. We're continuing to build on the same principles that first got you interested in Drake and Drake football. Those things haven't changed. And so we've gotten some pretty good feedback. My voice isn't real strong right now because I've been talking to a lot of recruits in the past 5 days. So.
Any other questions? All right, I think Sandy had a few words to wrap things up here today.
Thank you, Coach. Just a couple of closing comments. I wanted to first say thank you to our players. You guys are amazing. You've been amazing through this whole transition process, and the way you guys lead is pretty special. Not just what you do on the football field, but what you do for this whole entire athletic program. So I want to say thank you, and keep up the great work. And to the few of you who just graduated, congratulations. It's cool watching you guys walk across the stage. I also want to say a quick thank you to Eastern Michigan, to their leadership, because these types of transitions are not easy. And to have a gap in transition would have been challenging. And they worked with us all the way through to ensure that our program was cared for. And that doesn't happen every day in this industry. So I just want to say a quick thank you to them. And just lastly, I want to say thank you to Coach Fox for continuing to believe in Drake athletics, because this is how success continues. When you have extraordinary people ready, willing, qualified to step into this role. And when Coach and I talked for the first time a few days before Coach Creighton's departure, I went home from that conversation just praying that that should the transition take place, that Coach would be willing to take this lead. And I just want to say thank you, because I know we're in excellent hands, and I'm very excited about the future of Drake football.